In this video, I have done the heavy lifting for you to find the 6 best keyboards under $199 for Christmas. As a musician and a music teacher for the past 25 years, I very often get manufacturers who send keyboards to me so that I can independently review them on my channel. And this is to ensure that my students get the best equipment for the amount of money that they are willing to spend. So there will be many cheap keyboards available out there, and these are really just musical toys. They are toys that makes music sounds, and I will be throwing this out from my shortlist, and you can find just 6 of these best keyboards that you can get for $199, which has critical features and has great sounding voices. And I will tell you what's good about that particular keyboard and what are some of the features that I don't really like, so that you get the best bang for your dollar. And if that sounds good to you, make sure you smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jeremy C, and in my channel, I make independent and unbiased tutorials and reviews about a range of keyboards as well as digital pianos. Smash that subscribe button if you want more useful videos like this. In no particular order, here are my 6 best music keyboards under $199 for Christmas. The very first keyboard on my list is the Yamaha EZ-220, which has 61 standard keys and comes with a key lighting system. You get 392 voices as well as 9 adjustable reverb effects to sweeten up those voices. You also get a specific grand piano button for you to instantly call up a pair of stereo grand piano sound. And to go along with your playing, you get 100 auto accompaniment rhythms. You will also be getting a lesson function as well as a metronome feature, which is really critical for someone who's trying to keep in time. As for connectivity, you get a USB connection for connecting to an iPad or to an external computer. You will also be able to plug in your headphones as well as a sustain pedal for more precise control over your sustained piano notes. And what I also do like is you get 2 speakers powered by a 5-watt amplifier. It is also pretty lightweight at 9 pounds. And to power this keyboard, you get flexible options. You are able to power it with AA batteries as well as DC power. Now here's what I don't like about the EZ-220 by Yamaha. Firstly, it only has 32 notes of polyphony, and in this day and age for $199, that just falls short. However, that really depends on the level of skill that you are playing on your keyboard. I also don't like that you are not able to layer multiple voices or split the keyboard into 2 parts for 2 different voices on each side. Further, there's no way to save the registration settings that you have set up on your voices. There's also no auxiliary in for you to plug in your music from your mobile devices to play along with. And the last thing I don't fancy on this keyboard is that there is absolutely no way to record your playing on the keyboard itself. However, the Yamaha EZ-220 does meet all the critical features and requirements that will make it a decent keyboard for $199. By the way, do make sure you check out the links in my description below for more information about these 6 keyboards I will be discussing, and make sure you stay tuned to the end of this video where I will give you my conclusion as to which of these 6 keyboards might be most suitable for you based on your usage requirements. If you don't need a key lighting system on the keyboard, we have the Yamaha PSR-E363 next. That is one of my favorite beginner keyboards and still remains so as at today. For $186, you get 61 standard size touch sensitive keys. However, this is one step up from the EZ-220 because you get 48 notes of polyphony. In addition, you get 574 voices, lots for you to play with, and you get more than 20 different effects you can apply to the voices to make it your very own. And I also like the fact that there is a grand piano button that you can instantly smash that button and get a standard default grand piano sounds without tinkering with too much. I also like the fact that you can layer up to 2 voices as well as split the keyboard so that you get different sounds on each side of the keyboard. And for playing along with you, you get 165 auto accompaniment rhythms as well as 150 arpeggiator patterns for those who are more into the contemporary EDM-like music. I also like the fact that Yamaha has retained the lesson function on this model, and there is also a metronome to help you keep in time. One of the things that I like about this keyboard over the EZ-220 is that it has 9 slots for registration memory, allowing you to save your different settings as well as your sound edits into 9 slots. In addition, these PSR-E363 keyboards comes with a 2-track music recorder, which should be sufficient for someone who is just starting out. And for connectivity, you get the usual sustain pedal that you can plug in. You can plug in a set of headphones as well, and there is a USB jack for you to connect to your computer or your iPad for greater connectivity. And if you want to play along with the songs you already have in your mobile phones, there is an auxiliary in jack for you to plug in your mobile phone. And just like the previous model, Yamaha EZ-220M, you also get flexible power options. You can power it by batteries or DC powered. In addition, you also get the exact same 5-watt amplifiers driving the 2 speakers. Now I'm sure you can tell why I like this model very much, because for $186 it has pretty much most of the things and in a very lightweight package of only about 10 pounds. So there's really just one thing that I don't like about the PSR-E363 at this price level, and that is the covers of the speakers are actually fabric. So this is a huge dust magnet and it gets dusty pretty quickly and is also likely to get damaged if you happen to have anything sharp run across it like a scissors. For those who prefer a slightly more piano-centric keyboard, we have at $179 the Yamaha NP-12. So the NP-12 is a little different from the usual organ-style keys. You actually get keys that looks like piano keys, a little bit boxier, and it has touch sensitivity as well. And because this is more piano-centric, you get 64 notes of polyphony, which is a lot more than the previous 2 keyboards. On the NP-12, you are also able to layer up to 2 voices as well as split the keyboard sounds into 2 so that you get different sounds on each side, as well as apply 4 different reverb effects on the sounds that you have selected. And the usual connectivity applies. You get a headphones jack, sustain pedal, as well as a USB MIDI for connecting to your iPad or your mobile phone. So the one feature that this NP-12 has that the previous keyboards or the rest of the keyboards on this list doesn't have is the ability to have half pedaling on your sustain pedal. So this is more of a piano technique, and therefore you will not find these on the previous other keyboards, but you can find it here. And in the same way, you get this in a lightweight 9 pounds package. You can power it using your AA batteries as well as your DC adapter, and you find the exact same 5-watt amplifier powering 2 speakers. So for $179, this is more of a piano-centric keyboard, and because of this, there are quite a number of things that I don't really like about this keyboard. First of all, it is not weighted. So the keys are just your usual organ style keys, and I would expect a piano-centric keyboard to have some kind of weighting on the keys, and this doesn't. On top of that, you only get 10 voices, a couple of pianos, electric pianos, organs, and harpsichords, and that's all you're gonna get. However, these are bread and butter voices. If you don't need a lot of sounds, really all these 10 will get you a long way. And because this is more of a piano-centric keyboard, you don't get any rhythms at all to play along with. In addition, what I don't like is that you don't get a 2-track recorder. You only get a single-track recorder, which I feel is a shame, because for a piano-centric keyboard, you might want to record little duets with it. And there is no auxiliary in for you to jam along with songs you already have in your mobile phone. Also, any settings that you have applied for your sounds and on your keyboards will be lost when you turn off the keyboard, because there is no option to save it into any kind of registration memory slots. You must be thinking right now, Jeremy, why are you only mentioning Yamaha keyboards? You mean there's nothing else out there? Don't worry, I am getting to the next few keyboards, which is from Casio. And the very first one on the list is the Casio CTK-700, which was released not too long ago, roughly about a year ago, and it goes for $174. And for $174, you get 61 standard organ type keys, which is touch sensitive, as well as 48 notes of polyphony. But what Casio has done is jam-pack more than 600 quality voices using their more recent AIX sound chip, which is pretty impressive sounding, as well as a whole myriad of up to 40 different effects, reverb, choruses, and EQs to sweeten up the sound and personalize it to your liking. And just like some of the previous keyboards that we have talked about, you also have a dedicated piano button so that you can just default this to a standard grand piano to get playing straight away. You also get the ability to layer up to 2 different voices, as well as split the voices on 2 sides of the keyboard. And $174 is really great value for this keyboard because Casio has jam-packed 195 auto accompaniment rhythms for you to play along with, as well as 100 arpeggiator patterns if you want to do the more EDM, electronic dance music kind of thing. And on this keyboard, you get one of the best deals for a multi-track recorder at this price. You get a 6-track recorder versus the previous 3 models that I've talked about, which had no recording functions or just a single track or maximum 2 tracks. And at $174, you get 6 tracks. And you also get 32 slots for you to save all your registration settings and your sound tweaks that you have already done. And the speakers on this Casio CTK-700 is pretty powerful at 5 watts amplifier driving 2 speakers. You get the usual auxiliary in that you can connect your mobile phones and play along with your backing tracks. And in the same manner, you can power this using AA batteries as well as a DC power adapter. So here are a couple of things that I don't really like about the Casio CTK-700. And the very first thing is that although it is able to layer multiple voices, there is no way to independently control the volume between the different voices that you have layered, and it may not be able to balance it in the manner that you want. In addition, I find that the Casio is just a little less well built than the Yamaha PSR-E363, for example. It just has a little bit lack of polish. The user interface on the Casio CTX is also less inviting and less friendly to use. Not that it is difficult, but it just takes a little bit more getting used to, and it doesn't help that the Casio's user manual just isn't very well written. Next up, we have a keyboard that costs $199 from Casio, and this is a little hidden gem, and that is the Casio CTK-6250. This model is slowly being phased out by Casio, and Casio isn't really marketing it very much, and whatever models you see really are just the remaining units from previous production. For $199, you get 61 standard keys that is touch sensitive, but what is different is that you get 700 massive sounds that you can tweak with the onboard more than 100 plus different effects to get the sound to sound exactly the way you want it to be. And the keyboard comes with 48 notes of polyphony and a whopping 210 auto accompaniment rhythms, as well as 150 arpeggiator patterns for you to play along with your EDM music. And what is surprising in this price range is that it also includes a pitch bend wheel for you to have more expressive sounding acoustic voices. One of the things that blew my mind at this price point is that this keyboard comes with a 16-track sequencer. Yes, you heard me right. It wins all the other keyboards on this list when it comes to multi-track recording at 16 tracks. And to expand the onboard memory, you can actually plug in your SD memory card for you to dump all your registration setting for your sounds that you have tweaked. And on this keyboard, you get 32 slots to save your voice settings. And when this is full, you can just dump it on the very handy SD card slot. And I'm surprised that at $199 on this keyboard, you actually get separate left-right outputs, which means that you can connect it to a PA system if you need to play in a larger group setting. You also get the usual USB MIDI connectivity to connect with computers and iPad, as well as your usual headphones and your pedal jack. You also get flexible batteries and DC powered options. But the speakers on this has got to be the most powerful of the lot, because you get a 12-watt amplifier driving a pair of speakers. However, not everything is rosy, and here are a couple of things that I don't like about the Casio CTK-6250. Firstly, this is much heavier than the other keyboards on this list. It goes at 13 pounds. So if portability is your main concern, this is something that you want to consider. Also, the batteries powering the CTK-6250 has to be D-size batteries versus the much more readily available AA batteries found on the other models here. And the last thing which prevents me from recommending this really fantastic feature-packed keyboard wholeheartedly is that this uses the older generation Casio AHL sound chip rather than the much newer AIX sound chip found on the Casio CTX700 that I mentioned earlier. And keyboard number 6 that I'm recommending on this list has got to be the Casio CTK-3500. It is the cheapest on the list at $129, and it also is the lightest at only 7 pounds. So what you get for $129 is 61 touch-sensitive keys, standard organ-size keys, and you get 48 notes of polyphony. On top of that, you get 400 voices to play along with, as well as a couple of reverb effects you can apply to the voices. You also get 100 auto accompaniment rhythms that you can play along with, as well as 50 dance music patterns that you can just kind of be like a DJ. I like that there is still a lesson function here for those people who may not have ready access to the internet for YouTube tutorial videos, so the lesson function can still be a useful feature for those who need it. And the usual connectivity is found here. You get your usual headphone jacks, your sustain pedal, as well as a USB MIDI. What I'm surprised at this price level at $129 is you get a pitch bend, which is really critical if you want to have more natural sounding acoustic voice playing. So here are a couple of things about the CTK-3500 that I don't really like. Firstly, the build quality is not as impressive as the other models on this lineup. In addition, the amplification is really anemic at only 4 watts of amplification, and you can really hear that it is not as loud or as beefy as the other models on this lineup. I also wish the LCD is backlit so that you can use it in places where it is not so well lit. And the last thing that just bothers me on this keyboard is that there's absolutely no way at all you can save any of your configuration, your settings, and your voice that you have tweaks on this keyboard. But for $129, I'm not complaining, because these days, even just eating out for a family can cost you more than $129. But this is the absolute cheapest keyboard that still has decent sounds and a good set of features, although it might not have everything that I would have wanted to have. If you're someone who thinks that you can benefit from the key lighting system and you want that in your keyboard, then you want to make sure that you go for the Yamaha EZ-220. And if you're someone who just want the very, very cheapest keyboard that still sounds decent, then of course the Casio CTK-3500 is the one for you. But if you want something with a lot of high-tech features and you want it jam-packed full of functions, then you might want to consider the Casio CTK-6250. But do note that it doesn't have the very latest sound chip, so that is something you want to keep in mind. Casio CTX700 is a good choice for you if you want good quality sounds, but don't really care too much about it having, the ability to layer multiple voices. If you're only interested in the piano sounds and you are a more piano-centric player, then of course go for the Yamaha NP-12. But to me, the most balanced package, pretty well built, has got to be the Yamaha PSR-E363. Easy to use, pretty sweet sounds and groovy rhythms. And of course, the tried and tested package, it is still my #1 recommended instrument for my beginner students. If you found this video useful, the least you can do for me is smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe if you haven't done so. My name is Jeremy C, and I'll see you soon.